So good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. So of course today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the public charge ruling. If you all remember, this is not the first time we've done this. About a year ago, we actually had another press conference. Since then, the ruling has changed, and we'll be able to hear a little bit more about that from the experts that are behind me. Something else that we did do as a city last year, as well as other cities, we had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. and plead our case to the Office of Management and Budget. So we had Brandy Mendoza, who was formerly at the Chamber, Monica Rivas from Casa San Jose, and myself, and we went to Washington, D.C. To talk about the reason why this public charge ruling would negatively impact our city here in Pittsburgh. So again, we're going to be able to hear a lot from experts talking about what is this ruling, what has changed since last year, and what are ways that we as a city could get involved and make a difference. So Kim Din is next.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? My name is Kim Din. I work at the Pennsylvania Immigration and Citizenship Coalition. We're a statewide advocacy coalition comprised of about 50 member organizations all across Pennsylvania working on immigrant rights. So I'm here today to talk about what is the public charge rule, right? Who would it impact? So public charge, or the public charge test, is used by immigration officials to decide whether a person can enter the U.S. or get lawful permanent residency status. In this test, officials look at the totality of a person's circumstances, right, including income, employment, health, education or skills, family situation, and whether a sponsor signed a contract promising to support the person. Officials can also look at whether a person has used specific benefit programs. Public charge has been a part of federal law since 1882. So the new public charge rule expands the existing public charge doctrine, making it even more difficult for immigrants to obtain green cards and keep their families together. So under this new rule, which Jackie will go into, the use of a wider range of public benefits, including Medicaid and SNAP, will be counted against individuals applying for green cards. It's important to remember that the rule does not apply to every immigrant. The public charge test does not apply to people with legal permanent resident status who are applying for U.S. citizenship. Exempt immigrants include refugees, asylees, survivors of trafficking, domestic violence, or other serious crimes, VAWA self-petitioners, special immigrant juveniles, and certain people paroled into the U.S. The main group of people who are at risk at the public charge grounds of inadmissibility are people who are applying for immigrant visas and green cards on family petitions. Keep in mind that there are very few people who are both eligible for public benefits named in the public charge rule and who are actually subject to the public charge grounds of inadmissibility. So in other words, almost everyone who is eligible to receive public benefits can receive those benefits without any risk. Also, an immigrant's family members' receipts of benefits will not be considered, right? So there's no need for anyone, no need for any family members of immigrants subject to future public charge tests to drop benefits at any time. So this rule was designed to be confusing, complicated, and scary. So anyone who thinks this rule change might apply to them should talk to a trusted attorney who is familiar with both public benefits and immigration law before disenrolling from any public benefits program. And lastly, it's important to also remember that advocates are fighting very hard to prevent any changes to public rules, to public charge rules. So please stay tuned for updates on litigation. Thank you.
Great. Good morning, Jackie Martinez, JBM Legal. I'm an immigration attorney in town, so my job is to tell you how this is going to impact our community legally. The way that it's going to impact people is people who are coming into the country, meaning they're applying for admission, or people who are coming in and applying for a non-immigrant visa. So, as Kim said, it does not impact people who are legal permanent residents, people who are U.S. citizens, or people who are refugees or asylees are falling under these other special visas. But it does impact family members. So, for example, if you have a family member here in the United States who doesn't have status and has been receiving some benefits, and then later on you petition for them and they go and apply for benefits, it's going to impact them. So what's the rule now? the rule now is basically you have to present an affidavit of support, and you're supposed to show whether you're likely to be primarily dependent on government support. That means looking into the future. Will you in the future be needing public benefits, and if so, will you be a public charge? The menace in this rule change right now is now they're looking behind you. So did you use benefits in the past? And they're going to look at the last 36 months and whether or not you have used public benefits in the last 12-month period of those 36 months in the aggregate. All right, so what is public charge, and Kim went into that. But for our point of view right now, how it's going to impact our community, what's important to know is if you get cash, if you get medical, if you get food assistance, and you get housing. Okay, those are the basic premises. So if you touch any of those, you need to be kind of wary, and you need to ask, is this going to impact me or my family somehow? Now, if certain things are exempt, emergency medical care, if you are pregnant, if you receive the benefit under the age of 21, if you are need some special long-term medical care because of an emergency, and then you can qualify for exemptions. But the other menace in this law is that it is looking towards the future. So here's the devil in the details. What they can do is now they can look to see when you interview, if you use past benefits, whether you're going to use them in the future. So they can take a look at things like English proficiency. Can you speak English? Will that affect your income level? Will that affect your employment? They can look at whether you had medical conditions, whether you are able to get health care, and whether you've used a fee waiver in the past for anything. So it is kind of scary for a lot of people who have used these benefits, because it's very simple to fall into those situations where you're going to need some kind of health care or some kind of assistance. We all get sick, we all live life, someone gets cancer, and things happen. So I think it really is important for people to be aware of that. It is a small group of people that need to be worried about it, but the problem is that it causes a chilling effect on other people who are otherwise eligible. So if you're a legal permanent resident and you're eligible for these benefits, you can get those benefits. It will not have an impact on your citizenship. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Laura Perkins. I'm the emergency response organizer at Casa San Jose. I'm just going to say a few words about the general policy and then what we can do here in Pittsburgh. I just want to be clear that this policy is based on economic discrimination. They're saying that we don't want people in this country that are poor. That's the basis of this law. And it's part of a context of fear. It's a climate of fear that this administration is working on. As the emergency response organizer, I see families being separated in Pittsburgh all the time, and it's terrifying for these people. So I just wanted to give some context to this rule. But looking at the more positive side, what can we do to help? We can speak out against hatred when we see it. We can have tough conversations with family members. I've done that recently, and it's important. Look around you. If all the people that are around you look like you, that's a problem, all right? Volunteer. Casa San Jose can always take more volunteers. Donate. PIC is a great place to donate to. Casa San Jose. People that are organizations both locally, regionally, and nationally are great organizations to donate to. We also have a bond fund to get immigrants that are out, that are in immigrant detention here out, so that they can be with their families. I know this kind of goes without saying, but be kind to people. In this climate of fear, being kind goes a really long way. And then lastly, vote. Not just in national elections, vote in regional elections, and vote in local elections. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. My name is Megan Stanley. I'm the Executive Director of the Pittsburgh Commission on Human Relations. As you may know, the Commission is the entity charged with investigating complaints of discrimination that occur within the city of Pittsburgh. And as Laura just stated, we have concerns that policies like this can lead to widespread discrimination. Some of the bases for discrimination are national origin, race, color, and place of birth, as well as others. Policies like this can lead to unfair treatment and targeting of immigrant populations, which may impact their ability to maintain housing and employment. And I want us to be very aware of that and the widespread effects of this that might go beyond just what we're looking at now, but into other sectors as well. So if you feel that you've been treated differently or experienced discrimination in housing, employment, or public accommodations or city services, I urge you to contact our office. Our number is 412-255-2600. You can also go online or even report discrimination on the 311 app now. There are many ways to do this. We want to hear about it. Even if there is a complaint that we might not have jurisdiction over, we want to know who's being affected by policies like this so that we can put remedies in place. My hope is that as a city, we can rise above these fear tactics and see each other as equal human beings that help each other in times of need without hesitation. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the people of the city of Pittsburgh, I want to thank these leaders who work every single day to protect the rights of every Pittsburgher. As we think about our city, we have with great pride a history that we look back upon our own families, families of immigrants that came here for the opportunity, for jobs, working in mills and mines and factories. And when they came over, they weren't asked if they spoke English. They weren't asked if they were going to supply a revenue to this country. They were asked if they wanted to be Americans. And because of their sacrifices, they were able to raise their families, give other opportunities, and build the city into what we have today. That is the legacy of the United States. That is the dream of America, and that is under attack presently. To be clear, public charge is nothing more than an attack against families and against the poor. And we need to be able to understand that if these types of rules were in place, it is unlikely that many of our grandparents or parents would have had the opportunity to become Americans, and we would not have had the opportunity to become Americans. There's a poem that is written on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty that at moments like this I like to read, and I'm going to share. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name Mother of Exiles. From her beaconed hand glows worldwide welcome, her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor the twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempted, tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. When we walk away from these words, we walk away from the American promise.